welcome everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett, and I am back again with the astrology messages for the week of August 11th, 2025, which is a great week because we finally have Mercury out of retrograde, and that is always a good feeling. Of course, you know that if you've been following along with me, and that means you've already clicked on that subscribe button. But if not, now's a great time. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. That way you get notification every time I post new content, which is weekly as far as our astrology messages go. Daily, I also post tarot messages. Make sure when you go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com, you can join me there as a member and you get access to all of my written content as well. Which, if you have already been out there, you've already seen all of the August craziness that's going on. And of course, we just went through a spectacular full moon in Aquarius, and I create a separate article for the full moons and the new moons, as well as a breakdown of the day-by-day horoscopes as well. So again, all free to you. Just go out there, become a member of my website, and it even gets emailed to you so that you don't have to go searching and trying to find it. And on there, you can access the daily tarot cards, which I always try to sprinkle in a little bit of astrology with as well. So you can do that through my Instagram or TikTok, my Facebook page, or you can just simply access the daily predictions on my website as well. And of course, most importantly, book a session with me. This full moon in Aquarius has opened up a portal for the work that we're going to be doing through the rest of the year. The tension, the shocks, the aha moments, well, they're not going away. They are definitely going to continue. So you will want to be along with me for the guidance so that I can help you navigate the energy ahead. Speaking of that, we're going to now start breaking down the week ahead through the Astrologer software, of course, and we will kick it off here on Monday, August 11th. And as I mentioned, woohoo, Mercury is no longer in retrograde. However, Mercury is still in a standoff with Pluto. Now, sometimes we notice the Pluto work in our physical space, and a lot of times we don't. And it's things that are hidden, that are happening beneath the surface. But you will intuitively know whatever the struggle has been for you. And it is what you need to do going forward to change whatever has been challenging you for the last several weeks, that we have had this Mercury in Leo energy that has been retrograde, reminding us to reconnect with our childhood passion, to the things that brought us joy. Now, even if doing that causes you to face some fear in order to do it, like you don't like being on stage, then now's the time, even though it scares you, to do it. And when you do it, when you face those fears, that's when these great breakthroughs can happen. And over these next several weeks, as Mercury gains momentum and starts moving forward, you're going to see why you had to do it. Now, we also see this energy of this envelope, which I like to call news and information. Of course, Mercury rules news and information as well. Now, this started last week and it continues to build. It was there at that full moon in Aquarius as well. But what you have with the challenges, which are happening between Mercury and Pluto, as I just discussed, and Mars still in its standoff with that Saturn and Neptune energy in Aries, starting to move away. But of course, again, this was the big story from last week, and the conflicts and the war attacks, right? That was all because of this. But it's also the outer aspects of these sextiles and these trines, and we still have the kite and the mini triangle. Like this energy has not stopped. It's just starting to slowly break apart. But there's something on Monday about information that is guiding us on how to dissolve these challenges and these conflicts. And it is through speaking with authority, speaking up for ourselves, working in harmony with other people. That's Mercury and Mars. Mars and Pluto are working together to transform the relationships and the groups that we're a part of. And then we have that Pluto and Saturn and Neptune energy, which are again creating changes and transformation that helps us become better, stronger individuals. So even though it's tense and a little crazy, there is something bigger happening beneath the surface, and we really just have to be patient and let everything unfold as it should. And obviously, you have to open an envelope and look at what's inside of it to get all the information that you need. So the conflict is happening for a reason, and the battles are happening for a reason. We have to keep pursuing what it is that we love, what's our dream, what are we passionate about, and we have to be willing to do the work. And so there's something about the work, because of Mercury moving forward today, that also we can start moving forward. There's still things we're reviewing. We're still getting back to them because of Saturn and Neptune being retrograde in the sign of Aries, which rules the self. But these fire energies working in harmony with one another is guiding us on what steps to take, what information to continue to gather in order to start making a difference. So that's really important, obviously, on Monday to help us move forward. And then this energy of Jupiter and Venus coming together, and they'll be together for a couple of days, but they'll join together exactly. And when the two benefic planets come together, it is thought that there is some big opportunity and potentially a blessing that can happen for you in your life. And the blessing is more impactful if you have personal planets like I do in and around this 13 degrees of the sign of Cancer. So depending on what planet is being aspected by this, that is where you will see the blessing show up for you. So what are you hoping for? Jupiter brings growth and expansion. Venus is love and beauty. Money is definitely possible. Cancer energy is about caring and nurturing, being intuitive. It has a strong theme associated with women in leadership positions. So we've got some big energy to kick off the week. And while the aspect is weak, we do see the North Node is being activated. So of course, so is the South Node. And this aspect is only going to grow in intensity, but we may start to see, like I said, the bigger picture, which is what Jupiter wants us to see. And with the moon speaking in harmony with Jupiter and Venus today, earlier in the day, it's stronger. Again, there's something that can finally really feel good to you in your life. So that is some pretty amazing energy to kick us off, as long as you're not afraid of the conflicts and you don't let fear guide you. So that is Monday, and that's the biggest day of the week as far as activity goes. But remember, we are still in the energy of the full moon in Aquarius. So the next 2 weeks are taking whatever this was that was supposed to be brought to fullness for you and then doing something with it. That is what we're going to see. So it is a pretty amazing time in the sky and in our lives. And while there is a lot of tension and craziness and frustration, There's also a lot of things, again, that are going on beneath the surface that we don't know about, but they're fated. So try not to get overly anxious. Have faith and just let things unfold as they are meant to. All right. As we move ahead to Tuesday, you are still seeing everything that we talked about on Monday. The only additional piece of energy is thou, the moon, moves into the sign of Aries. So you may be feeling extremely bold, right? The moon rules our emotions. And so there is something very emotional about the day that's more on the passionate side, the kind of anger, but anger that can fuel your dreams and goals. It shouldn't be detracting from it. And of course, the moon, when it comes in here, adds another activation to the kite, to the envelope, to everything that's going on. So all I can tell you is on Tuesday, trust your gut, trust your instincts, and most importantly, trust yourself. This is not the time to doubt yourself or let other people tell you you don't deserve this, you're not strong enough. Yes, you are. And so there is something that helps you get control over your emotions and over your feelings and use them to help you get closer to this dream that you have for yourself, and work with people that can help you, right? Aries energy is what I need for myself. Mars in the Libra energy is going to see the relationships and the partnerships that we need to form in order to get whatever this dream we have for ourselves off the ground. This isn't something we can only do solo. We need others to help us achieve this. We need the information they have. We cannot just do it alone. And we also have to take other people's needs into account if we want this to be something that benefits everybody, not just ourselves. So there is something about that we feel strongly today. And then, as I mentioned, Jupiter and Venus are still giving the blessing, but they've moved together to this 14 degrees of the sign of Cancer. So it just changes it a little bit. In fact, the energy of the number 14 does create the number 5. So this blessing does create some kind of change for you, maybe associated with your family, your residence, maybe it's your health, your diet, motherhood. There's something that can change and that blesses you in some way and helps you grow. So that is what we are seeing here on Tuesday. And then as we move forward to Wednesday, not anything major here either, but now that conversation gets stronger between Mercury and Mars. And keep in mind that Mercury, number one, rules Wednesday. Each planet rules one of the days of the week, and Mercury happens to rule Wednesday. So there is something big, some leader, some speech, some partnership that is being created between some leaders, potentially some information that is coming to the surface. And because Mercury's been stationed to go direct, that means its energy is stronger, right? It's building up momentum as it changes direction, which means it's turning a corner around the sun, right? It's not really going backwards. It's been making this big, huge change and appears like it's backwards. But that is really picking up today. Mars, of course, is adding fuel to the flame that is already lighting up Mercury because it's in the fire sign of Leo. So there can be, again, some announcements of partnerships. There could be announcements of business deals. There is something today that will be very noticeable. And if you are traveling anywhere today, this can be like a little too much gas. So don't get out of control. Make sure that you slow down a bit wherever your travels are taking you on Wednesday, so you're not getting a speeding ticket wherever you're heading. And of course, we're starting to see Venus is moving on from Jupiter, but they're still speaking together and helping make a difference. And we think of Cancer too, and this could be about food, and we've all been horrified, no matter what side you're on when it comes to what's going on in Gaza. Nobody deserves to be starved to death. So hopefully this means that there's some relief that is being given to those people who are suffering because of all of the conflict that is going on there. So that is what we see on Wednesday. Let's click ahead and look, and you'll see nothing's changing on Thursday. The conversation still continues between Mercury and Mars very strongly, because Mercury's going slower than normal, as I mentioned, gaining that momentum. One thing to consider: when Mars is in the sign of Libra, we say Mars is at its fall, because obviously Mars rules here, Aries. So while this is a challenge, and has been, between this Neptune and Saturn opposition in Aries, we call it receptive because of the fact that it's the ruler that this challenge is happening with. So it's more of a challenge to get on the same page than an all-out, battle against one another. And I also personally believe that when a planet is in what we call its fall, this is when we have an opportunity to gain new skills. So no, Mars is not good at considering other people's perspective and what other people want, right? It's rooted in the self. Me, 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 me. Well, when it's in the sign of Libra, Mars is forced to consider other people. And so are you. Over the next 6 weeks, you need to consider other people's perspective in whatever area of life in your chart. You have that Aries energy and you have this Libra energy. They're both being activated, even though this opposition will fade. But Mars being in the sign of Libra activates that house. And because it's somewhere where it's not good and strong, it's some new skill that you're about to learn as far as being relatable and relating to other people. And Mars takes about 6 weeks to go through. So as Mars is speaking with Mercury, you're learning something about the work that's ahead of you for this full 6-week journey of Mars through the sign of Libra. So again, don't shy away from it, especially if what you're learning is to speak up for yourself. All right. That is what we have to talk about on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have, again, remember how I said each planet rules a day of the week? Well, Jupiter rules Thursday and Venus rules Friday. And as Venus on Friday is speaking in harmony with the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces, this can bring fated events that involve love and home and family. It could involve money and home and family, and obviously it's fated, whatever the event is. It's a perfect time if you're looking to redecorate your home. You would come across the things that you want to buy, and then miraculously you would actually have the money to buy it as well. This can be, a great indication of a fated love event for some people. It's just going to depend on what house you have this Venus energy in, and of course where you have these nodes showing up for you as well. But this can be a really beautiful, serendipitous kind of day. And especially, again, if you have planets around this 18 degrees of Cancer, Virgo, and Pisces, which also means we're getting closer and closer to the September eclipse energy. So keep paying attention to the things that show up and are activating the eclipse points, which, both Jupiter and Venus in a positive way are going to be impacting that full moon lunar eclipse that happens the 7th of September. So there can be an indication of, what is going to be coming to completion for you during that time. This August month, the 6 weeks ahead of eclipse season is really when we're tuning in and noticing the lessons that are coming up for us, that fate has in store for us as a result. And what I like in particular about Friday is even the moon in Taurus, which Venus rules, is speaking in harmony with Venus, which is in the moon's home sign. So again, we have that receptive energy. This time that exchange is very positive in nature. And of course, that means the moon's also speaking in harmony with the south node. So there is something about the past that is coming up for you and can be good karma that you've created in this area of your life or the area of your chart that is, being paid back to you in some way. It's all harmonious. You'll notice that the harmonious energy this week is much stronger than any of the negative and the conflict energy that has been and felt so heavy, especially over these last few weeks. So hopefully that means this Friday is a really feel-good day for you, and you just might meet the love of your life if you're traveling on a plane to go home or something like that. All right, keep me posted, of course, on what stories are showing up for you. And then as we move ahead to Saturday, here we are, as I mentioned, still seeing the conversation between Mercury and Mars. So whatever this new agreement is, it's taking a lot of effort and a lot of back and forth. So continue the path, right? This isn't time to shy away. It's also a sextile, so the energy can be more subtle. You have to tune in and pay attention to it. But remember, Mars motivates you to do what's right when it's in the sign of Libra. So I am curious as to everybody what is showing up. We also see on Saturday, now this is the moon's second pass in the sign of Gemini and speaking with Uranus, right? That has been in here for the past almost 6 weeks, right? So now they're meeting up at 1 degree. This is something new beginning, and this is also activating this minor triangle of support between Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Also, now we're seeing Saturn's dipping back into the 0 degree territory. So this is the reset. This is the deconstruction of whatever you built that is not aligned with what you want and what you were trying to build for yourself. This is the time when we're going to start seeing that be dissolved. So there is something important, that activation of the energy that's hidden beneath the surface, a piece of information, even if it's just a download, will be made public for your consumption, for the collective's consumption. So again, trust your gut, trust your instincts, and trust the information that gets handed to you, because it is needed and you need to take some action on it. So that is Saturday, and then we will wrap up the week here on Sunday, where nothing's really changing this week. We are still seeing Mercury speak with Mars, but next week it'll finally pick up speed. But there's something on Sunday, which is the conclusion of the agreements, of this desire, of this partnership and the goals that you have coming to fruition, because the connection today between Mercury and Mars will be exact, and then Mercury's going to start moving on. Also, what we'll see today is the beginning of the work of the Jupiter retrograde, which doesn't start till 11/11, but Jupiter's a big planet, and that's why the work is big. And this work could tie back to something that you were doing in 2012, for instance, because Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. So now we start paying attention to what lessons Jupiter is teaching us that involve this Cancer topics, and of course the house that this is transiting in. Now, Jupiter's going to make it forward to 25 degrees in November on the 11th, and then it will station to go retrograde. And then we carry that energy into next year. So this planet's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, all of them will conclude next year. Same thing with Uranus. The only one that's going to, I think, clear shadow completely this year will be Pluto, because it will be the first of the retrograde planets to go direct. But as usual, when we get this preview of what our test will be, because Jupiter, of course, is a teacher, we want to tune in and pay attention, maybe just take some notes, pay attention to any dreams you're having, what your intuition is telling you, what it is that you're going to start working on. And I am very fascinated by the fact that Jupiter is going retrograde at 11/11. Like, there's a portal of learning and understanding about our ancestry, about our families, about nutrition, intuition, that there is some beautiful opportunity if we just tune in and pay attention and are open and willing to learn the lessons. So that is some pretty special energy as we wrap up Sunday. The other thing, we see this periodically as the moon moves around, of course, the quickest. Anytime it is making contact with the nodes, it again is an opportunity to change our path, change the way we're thinking about something, and that change will help open new doors for you. So definitely want to show up and let that energy in. And then we'll get into next week, and this is going to be some pretty incredible energy as usual. We're going to end up seeing, and I'm just going to move us ahead to it. All right, so here's what has caught my attention ever since I started, doing this forecasting, which I do months in advance. So in August, of course, we have on the 22nd this new moon in the sign of Virgo at 0 degrees. Like, this is a complete reset of some kind. And it is an important new opportunity. It can be something involving health. It could be maybe a solution to a health issue. But wherever you have this happening in your life, and especially if you have planets at these 0 degrees, there is a mission for you, because it's going to be, this new moon, a part of this really important yod that involves Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune, and of course the sun and the moon. So there is, like I said, something significantly changing. The new moon is also going to square to Uranus, so there's some shocking changes that could involve our health. But why I find it so fascinating is the fact that what we have with this new moon at Virgo at 0 degrees, this reset moment, is then followed up by the new moon solar eclipse that happens at 29 degrees of Virgo. So we have the full spectrum from 0 to 29 in one sign, and both have new moons for some huge change, some reset, some shocking surprise, some fated work, right? A yod is the finger of God pointing at you, and it's pointing at you through this new opportunity in the sign of Virgo. So we will talk about that next week. We will break it down by sign, of course, and it's going to be helpful if you do a reading, because it's going to be hard to describe this mission you have and what you have to change and this new beginning. There's just a lot of complexity, and it of course depends on what planets are being activated, what house is being activated. And this is a bookend, right? A beginning and an end that are just so important for you. So we'll talk about that. And then the other thing I like is it's happening on the 22nd, which of course is the master builder number. So there is something so important that we need to show up for and create at the time of this new moon. So we will, as I mentioned, talk about that all next week. And I can't wait to break it down for you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for liking and commenting. Been really enjoying a lot of new clients that have been coming my way, so that really makes it fun for me. I love your referrals. It means so much when you guys consider referring your friends and family to me, and I just really loved and enjoyed the experience. So thank you for that, and I will keep you updated on any crazy stuff that's going on and changing in my life. So far, the only thing is my wonderful, lovely dog who just keeps challenging me in his health, which is a Virgo thing. So hopefully this means some breakthroughs and helping him through his health journey. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right, guys, I will see you all next week. Can't wait to hear your stories. So continue to like and comment and on any of my channels out there so I can hear what's been showing up for you. All right, guys, we will talk soon. Take care.